Imagine waking up one morning and you're like,
Hey, I actually just won the lottery.
but you have no plan, no idea how you're actually gonna spend it. Here I'm gonna manifest that I've won the $150 million Powerball jackpot, which depending on what time you're watching this, could be tonight, it could have been last night, or it could have been last week. But I also thought it would be a really cool exercise to go through and say, how would I actually spend $150 million? So in this video, I'm gonna break down my tax optimization strategy if I were to win, as well as that, how I would break it down so I've got enough money, not just for today, but moving forward. A lot of lottery winners, a high percentage, I'm gonna guess it's like 90% because I like that number, of people that win the lottery and end up broke only like 5 years later. So if you're interested in what I'm planning to do with my $150 million, then definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, cryptocurrency, and financial freedom. Manifesting is a beautiful thing and hopefully I'm here winning $150 million. And if that were to be the case, then I would definitely go and break down what the plan looks like. I've already got a plan, not just because of this video, but it prompted me to make this video because I had to start thinking about it. There's only so much KFC your heart can take before you're gonna die. So while I do advocate for good KFC, quality chicken tenders and gravy, what's more important is your health. So yes, the occasional splurge is gonna be amazing, much like what you need to do with your financial health. So let's dive into exactly what I'll do, and I'm gonna have a running total on the screen somewhere so that you're aware of how much I've spent of the 150 mil. And if you're interested in knowing how I'm gonna save millions by optimizing my tax structures, then definitely stick till the end of this video because that's gonna save me a lot of money and it's something I would implement if I won a large portion of money like this. Now, if you didn't know, the lottery here in Australia is tax-free. So the money we win, completely tax-free, it's brilliant. So the 150 would actually account for 150 million. So let's put that on the board and see what we're gonna do with the rest of the money. It's interesting when you think about this concept of, I've got all this money available to me, what am I actually gonna do? And I think it's a good way to understand how your mind is programmed. I realized during this exercise that my mind is wired differently to most people. However, given that you're watching this channel, we're probably wired the same way. Which is, it's great to have the money up front, but is there a way I can get that money to continue creating me money over time? Because we're an investing channel, we talk about personal finance, we understand how that world works. So, of course, I was gonna say, rather than having one unbelievable year where my level of happiness wouldn't really dramatically change if I was to spend 100 million versus 150 million. I would go on to say that you could probably spend 10 million and be happy. Anything beyond that, you're probably like,
Yeah, it's a nice to have. I don't really know what the value of this money is.
and over time you actually have no money left. So what a lot of people would like to do is go out there and say, okay, the lowest tax structured model that I can invest in is probably going to be my super. And so people would go out there and put money into their super. Now for me, at my age being 31 and with my portfolio where it's at and my investing strategy, I have no plans to go and inflate my super at this age. Now, could that change in say 20, 25 years? Yeah, probably. That's not because I just like instant gratification. I think there's a way where you can enjoy life and still be growing out your wealth. That way it becomes really sustainable and you increase the quality of life, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. So for this exercise, I'm not touching my super, I'm not putting extra in there, and this is purely what I would be doing. Again, I have no idea who's watching these videos. I don't even know if you're a robot. And if you're a robot, then you're definitely not taking this as financial advice. So needless to say, it's not financial advice for anybody that's a robot or anything else. So in the real life, I'm probably looking at a principal place of residence that's probably gonna set me back about $7 to $10 million. Crazy number, I know. It is insane that I'm even talking about this, but that's the reality. With what I want, how I want it to be perfect. So I know the location, I know exactly how much it's gonna cost me to build. I also know the exact location that I wanna be in terms of suburbs. Can I execute on that now? Not really. So if I was to do this in the real world, it would be $7 to $10 million towards my principal place of residence. But I've just won $150 million. So then I go into the upgraded location, the upgraded house. The silliness in that house is really silly. So for that, I would need $25 million. So I would go out there and buy it straight cash. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the fact that once I bought that house, I could recycle that debt, go and purchase more investment properties with that money. I think if I was to do that in this video, we would continue going on and on and on, and it could be like an hours long video. So for the purpose of this, I'm buying my principal place of residence, $25 million, that's going to be requiring me to find something, knock it down, rebuild, and it's probably like a 3-year project. Now, the next 25 million that I've allocated is actually to help the closest people to me. So that's to get everyone that's close to me out of debt. Some people in my family have a house with a mortgage, some people haven't even bought their own home, and others have other lingering debt that's holding them back just living their best life. So I would use the next $25 million to help the closest people in my family and friends to go and get them out of debt and get them into a comfortable position. We all know that mental health is so important. And so when you think about financial stress on that mental health, you can only imagine how hard it can be for so many people. At the moment, there might be people even watching this channel who are struggling just with the basic needs of shelter and food. So for me, this 25 mil is an absolute no-brainer. It allows me to help the closest people to me, and that would just make me so happy inside. Now, the next $25 million will be invested. Now, this will be broken down in real estate, as well as cash in the bank, bonds, etc. What I'm trying to do with this portion of 25 mil would be to generate cash flow. I'm not really interested in the capital growth, although that's going to be significant given that I run a buyer's agency, so we know where to buy properties that have capital growth. But the idea here is to get about 3 to 4% as a return with cash flow. So if I'm putting in $25 million, at 3%, that would be $750,000 a year. After taxes would work out to be close to about $412,000, which would work out to be circa $8,000 per week. Now, when your house is paid off and you don't have to worry about debt, you're gonna have to take one whole day to figure out how you're gonna spend $8,000 a week. Now, again, I should probably have said that in your case, you might be different. You might already be spending $8,000 a week. I definitely don't spend that sort of money, and I actually had to think,
How would I spend $8,000?
I got to about 6,000 and it just seemed ridiculous as to what I was spending money on, and don't think it necessarily would improve my life by any means. And just like that, I'm at 50%. So 75 million of the 150 million I've just won has now been spent. It's allowed me to buy my dream house for myself, my partner, and my future family with no debt. It's also allowed me to get everyone that's close to me out of debt and hopefully into a better position with their living standards where financial stress isn't affecting them on a day-to-day basis. And it's also allowed me to go and invest, which would then create $8,000 per week of income after tax dollars. Now, the next $10 million I would spend on existing debt that I already have. So I would go out there, use the 10 mil and just pay off any debts that I personally have as well associated with my real estate portfolio. So I would go and wipe that out. Now, the next two things that I would invest in are more so an insurance policy against everything that's happening in the traditional finance world. So for me, two things I could invest in is Bitcoin and gold. So this is where I'm going and hedging my bets, saying that in case the entire existing financial system goes to crap, I have something there to ensure that I'm protected against what inflation looks like, as well as the fiat currency that we currently use. So I'd go ahead and put the next $10 million into Bitcoin. How I would actually get that from my bank account into an exchange to purchase, I have no idea, given there's so many regulations now, but that's a future Ravi problem, not right now. I would then also put in $5 million towards gold, and buying physical gold, storing it somewhere safe, probably multiple locations, is me just protecting all the wealth that I've just generated and said, hey, in case it goes wrong, I've got something there. So that's the next 25 million completely gone. Now that should leave me with $50 million left. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I'm not really interested in material things because they actually don't bring me happiness. But if I've gone and won $150 million, I have to do silly things to get rid of the money, right? So I'm going to go ahead and buy my dream car, which only became a dream car like 12 months ago because I saw it on the street and I was like,
Damn, that's a hot car.
so I would go ahead and get my dream car, which is the Lamborghini Urus in matte black. That is the dream car. I don't care if there's something faster. I don't care if there's something nicer. That's what looks good because it's the closest thing that resembles Batman's own vehicle, the Batmobile. And when growing up, I only wanted to become Batman.
And then I realized I'm Indian Batman. I don't know how that would work.
But I would go beyond that. I would actually go ahead and spend $5 million on cars, not just for myself, but everyone that's close to me. I would go ahead and buy them cars as well. Some have really old cars. Some people just have dream cars that they really want, and they would go and appreciate that a lot more than I would. So I would go ahead and purchase what they need. So that's the next 5 million gone. Now here's where things get really interesting, because I can go ahead and say, okay, I've got $45 million of which I'm gonna go out there and spend all of it now. Or I can go and create a splurge account. And this made the most sense to me, because if you're going out there and saying, I'm going to spend that much money, how many holidays could you actually take before you'd go, I just want to be back in my routine. I really love what I've got back at home. And for someone like myself, I can only travel like 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And then I'm like, nah, I need to go home. I need to go build something. I need to be working on something, and I want my routine. So because of that, I thought about going, instead of me going and spending $5 million now, I can go ahead and spend 20 million and put it into the bank account. Now, in this case, I would create this bank account or having instruments that allow me to get the cash flow purely for the basis of spending. And that's why it's called the splurge account. Initially, I've got the investing account and that's going to go and create more cash flow. That's used for my needs expenses. That's the stuff that's like shelter, food, and things like that. The rest of the money would then get reinvested and I would compound that growth as well. In this case, I'm going and saying to myself, look, I've got this much money, which is 20 mil in the bank. I'm going to go earn, say, 3%, which would work out to be like $600,000. That 600,000 after taxes would be 300K. And now I'm going to use that money to go take my family on holidays, take my friends on holidays, and we just have a really good time all the time. One thing I didn't really calculate while I was thinking about it was maybe I could just own like the KFC that's local to me. And then I could just go in there and just
Be like, yeah, just want some chicken. Just want some chicken whenever I like.
don't have to wait, just grab it out of the box and it's good to go. I don't think anyone in my family would approve that, but anyways. And now the final $25 million. I told you it was gonna take work to spend this 150. And now you made it to this point. If you've liked what I've had to say, or at least enjoy this sort of content, because it can be entertaining, then smash that like button so we can spread videos like this, as well as the actual real value videos, to a lot more people through YouTube. Now the final $25 million is part of my tax optimization strategy, but is also about giving back. As you can see with everything I've just shared, it's about myself, but also for my family, my close people and friends. But there are other people that need the help. And they need a lot more than just me buying a second or third or fourth car because, you know, why not? So the final amount of money will go into an account, which would then every year automatically be paying out towards charities. Now this could be done in a couple of different ways to optimize taxes. Even with all of the investing, it could be done under trusts, it could be done under company structures, and I'm not an accountant, so I really didn't want to come up with all of that and talk to an accountant and be like,
Hey, I may have won 150 mil, like tell me how I'm gonna spend this money.
what this allows me to do is one, okay, I'm giving to people that really need it. And it could also include me being involved with, you know, building schools, helping children all around the world. And that might tie in with the travel as well. So instead of going out and just saying, here's the lump sum, I'm gonna pay it towards charities, I would rather go and do it yearly. And then that would then also double up as an offset to my taxable income as well. This is pretty much what I've come up with over a night of thinking about the fact that I could win this 150 mil and I should probably figure out how I'm gonna spend it. Now, if you're still watching this channel and I do end up winning the 150 mil, I will make a follow-up video and I would break down exactly what I buy with the 150 mil. So subscribe if you haven't already and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks guys.